How to think about jobs and the future of work. In my book, AI and You, I introduce the concept of your ecosystem and share some tools to model it. Once you better understand your current ecosystem, then you can transform yourself to a future that you envision for yourself. The general philosophy of adapting to an AI future is to place yourself in a competitive position, just like what companies try to accomplish through business transformation. In this video, I'll take you a step deeper into ways of looking at jobs of the future. But first, hit that subscribe button and click on the bell icon so you get notified of new videos on architecture and AI that I share every other week. To set the foundation, let's assume that nobody can predict the future jobs with any degree of certainty. What we can do is to take educated guesses based on trends, on technology, and on the market, which is why it is important to understand the current environment, a lot of what I talk about in the book. To understand and frame the jobs of the future, we actually don't need to look at the jobs themselves, but instead look at individual tasks that make up the job. Thinking of tasks is much better because it is more granular and we can better predict if a task can be automated or not. Then we can put this all back together into the job to figure out how much of the job will be automated. For example, a cashier's job is to greet customers, scan items to be purchased, bag those items, accept payment from the customer, and close the purchase with a smile. Not all tasks are equal, which is why I drew them in different sizes. Some of these tasks have potential of being fully or partially automated. A doctor's job might include tasks like greeting the patient, listening to the patient's symptoms, scanning a medical history, asking probing questions, thinking through options, ordering additional tests, scanning test results, prescribing medicines, filling out paperwork, and a few more. So let's figure out if a task is a candidate for automation. I'm going to consider multiple dimensions here. The first is rather obvious, and that is technology. Over time, the levels of automation have changed due to technology. First, we had mechanical automation, like using big machines to help build roads. Then we had software-based automation, like using computers to control variables in a brewery. Then came data-based automation, like using data to make predictions about customer behaviors. And now we are exploring cognitive automation, like having machines read volumes of legal case histories to identify precedents. So we need to understand if we have the technology to automate the task. The next is predictability of the task. The more predictable the task is, the easier it is to automate. The predictability on some tasks are more clear-cut than others. For example, a police officer's task of giving a ticket is based on how fast over the speed limit you're driving, and that's easy. A cardiologist reading your ECG to identify any heart problems you might have is more nuanced. But we're getting to a point where machines perform better than humans in detecting cancers by reading images. Then next is a return on investment. On the cost versus value scale, companies will seek to automate tasks that get them the biggest bang for the buck. Cafeteria cooks, for example, can be automated, but it is cheaper to hire cooks to do the tasks anyway. On the other hand, consider knowledge workers who make up the majority of the workforce. Do many of the tasks that could be automated and also get paid a lot more than cooks. So that's an area where companies would look into and have incentive to automate with cognitive technologies like AI. The next dimension to think about is time frame. Even if automation of a particular task does not happen now, when will it happen? In 10 years? In 20 years? Or much beyond? Of course, the further we go out into the future, the more unreliable will our predictions be. From a manager's point of view, maybe the task of managing projects will be automated in the next 10 years, but the task of motivating her team members will not be automated anytime in the next 30-year time horizon. Next is the customer acceptance. Even if a task is automatable, would the customer want it to be automated? Our experiences with automated call routing have taught us that most customers still like to talk to humans who can solve their problems much more quickly. Perhaps that'll change with better technologies. And in some cases, humans may still be wary of machines. Would you let a robot cut your hair? The next is explainability. Today, machines can process large volumes of data and identify patterns or reach conclusions. But humans still want to understand how the machine came to the conclusions that it did. So government regulations may be put in place to prevent some tasks from being automated. Maybe a judge still has to give the final sentencing even though a machine may make a recommendation. Another thing to consider in task automation is the ecosystem support. Maybe the task of shelving products in a supermarket is not automatable today, but what if the supermarket reconfigures their shelves to make it easier to automate? Amazon, for example, reconfigured its warehouse for automation, which in turn reduced the number of forklift operators. While full automation may be decades away, many human tasks will disappear. Finally, there is task importance. There are some tasks that are considered important and cannot be delegated or automated. For example, a business should consider tasks like formulating its strategy, creating innovative business models, understanding how technology can enable the business, and so on, to be critical that it can be aided by automation, but will continue to require human ingenuity and innovation. By the way, how do we define a task? Here is some high-level guidance. Don't overthink it. If you feel like there is too much included, that you can't really think about these dimensions, then break up the task into smaller units. If you're getting too granular, that's okay to combine tasks. The important thing is to be able to understand the likelihood of automation of any task. If you think of more dimensions than what I have shared here, just type it in the comments section below so all of us can have some conversations around it. Now that we have explored some dimensions for automation, what does this mean for your job? You have to do some research and thinking about how your job may be impacted by automation and specifically AI. Then, think about all the tasks that your job requires. For any particular task, use the simple framework to explore the chances of it being automated and when. Repeat for each task. The time you spend on all the tasks are not equal. So get an idea of the amount of time you spend on each of these tasks and do a simple calculation to see what approximate percentage of your job might be automated soon. In the future, you want to have a job that has many non-automatable tasks. In your new role, there might be the same or modified versions of the tasks that you are currently doing. Also, you might want to add more tasks that require you to learn new skills. The non-automatable tasks could use your skills in the areas of leadership, communication, storytelling, empathy, creativity, problem-solving abilities, software development, analytics, design, and others. So pick tasks that have a high component of these. This is not a comprehensive list by any means though. Essentially, you can define a brand new role using a combination of tasks that bring out your skills, passion, interest, and your background, thereby making you unique with a competitive advantage and differentiated from what machines can do. Then you're off to a great start on self-transformation. The bottom line is this: think, transform, and thrive in an AI future. If you enjoyed watching this video, please consider subscribing. Thank you.